All right, we are back.
Woohoo!
Let's see how this goes. Man, it says I'm dropping frames again
Really?
whenever I go live.
I wonder if
What
it's
is...
something to do with yeah. So again, I'm having problems signing on Facebook Live.
Yeah, I don't know what the issue is here. Let me get on here and see if it's still lagging really bad. If anybody's in here, um, if you guys can throw in the comments if it's running choppy for you or if it's running clear. It's showing on my end it's dropping frames, but maybe it's not. I don't know. Let me know. Yeah, I don't know what the issue is here. Let me get on here and see if it's. It actually looks like it's running okay. If it's still lagging really bad. If you guys are,
Yeah, it does.
if anybody's
Well,
in here, I'm getting a spinning wheel every couple seconds. I'm not sure what that's all about. Let me check my router here really quick. Stewie just went invisible. Just making sure everything's secure. It
Grant
is.
Grammy says I gotcha.
All right.
So Grammy, how are we on your end, Grammy? Too weird. Yeah, I'm getting the spinning, whirling dervish every couple of minutes as well.
I'm just Googling it real quick. Means that your connection to a remote server isn't stable or you can't keep up with the set bit rate. I don't even know what
Yeah.
that means. You are speaking a different language to me, Google.
Nick, where's Nick?
Yeah, we need Nick in here. Nick, where
I'm
are
trying.
you?
So, too weird.
All right,
Too
well,
weird. It is lagging
anywho.
behind again because now I'm looking at on Facebook, and when you got up out of your chair, that's just now up.
Oh, wow, so
So
that's significantly lagging.
yeah, yeah. So
Oh, I don't know
and
what that's all about.
Grammy hasn't answered either.
How to stop dropping frames. We'll just Google it real quick.
Okay. Probably gonna tell us to stop smoking whatever we're smoking.
Yeah, probably. Who knows? This is wild. Never had this problem before.
I don't even know what it means to drop frames. What's it mean?
I don't even know. Where's Nicky B when you need him, am I right?
Yeah, that's right. Taking some care of some kid.
He's like, hey, my kid's here, so I gotta take care of my kid. Well,
So did you see, Aaron, what it says? Go to your Discord settings and click on Appearance. Then scroll to the bottom and turn off hardware acceleration.
appearance. Go to the bottom and turn off
Hardware acceleration. If that doesn't work, go to overlay and disable in-game overlay. Oh
I don't
wow,
even.
I disappeared.
Yeah, it's
I
because I changed
disappeared.
the screen in Discord.
Ah, okay. All right.
Um,
So Alexa says she can hear us. Does that mean she can't see us?
Alexa, can you see us? Is it like cutting in and out, or is it clear, or
Okay.
what? Oh, we might be okay now. I'm showing green. No more drop frames. I'm showing we're in the green. All
Green
right.
mean go? Green mean go.
Green mean go. Oh, now it's back red. What is happening? I don't know. I just don't know. All right, well, we're just going to roll with it.
Okay.
and we'll
Well,
see what happens.
Mayor, are you trying to get on?
I
I
see
see
yous
you.
and
And
here. Perfect. All right. Well, then we're just gonna roll with it. We're just gonna
I
roll with
can
it.
use in here. Okay.
So, anywho, so we were talking about opening day.
Yep.
Let's see, what were we saying? Oh, how our baseball season doesn't really start until tomorrow.
Right.
Couple of good games happened already. So I went to Three Pines in Mount Holly after work, and they had the O's game on. I'm going
Yeah.
to tell you right now, I have the O's winning the American League East this year. I think they're going to be very, very good. They got a lot of young talent. They picked up
They do.
a stud number one pitcher on a staff that wasn't bad last year. Um,
Who's that?
Corbin Burns.
Oh yeah, he's a
Yep,
stud.
he's a
He's
stud.
I
So,
had him on my fantasy team.
mm, yeah, he pitched today. I think he gave up a home run to Mike Trout in the first inning, and then that was the only hit he gave up for the entire game.
Home run to Mike Trout.
Yep,
Good, got him on my fantasy team too.
perfect. Trout went yard in the first inning, and that was the only hit they registered
Oh my goodness.
for a little while. So, um, yeah, I got the O's taking the AL East, and I have their catcher Adley Rutschman taking home AL MVP.
Really? Wow.
Yep,
Wow.
yep.
So did they didn't bring up Holiday, right? He got sent
No,
back down.
yeah, which I
Well,
think is so crazy.
you know why it is. I mean, they want that extra year of control.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah. So,
yep. He'll be
they
up
have
second
to.
half of the season sometime.
Well, I don't. I bet you. No, I think he'll probably be up. He'll probably be up at the end of May.
Is that
I would
when?
think.
Okay, I
Yeah.
thought it was like half a
'Cause-
year.
No, it's only got to be like 8 weeks or 10 weeks or something like that.
Oh,
So
oh well, yeah.
that's
He'll
crazy.
he'll be up sooner rather than later then.
I've watched some of his workouts, man. Dude
Yeah.
is just crazy,
Well, you and then
crazy.
and then you consider right. So they just brought up Gunnar Henderson last year
Yep.
and Adley last
Yep.
year, I think. So
And
those are
who's in
three
center
three
fielder?
young studs.
They got a center fielder. Is it Mills? Wills? What the heck's his name?
Mills.
Oh,
Uh,
is it Mills?
I think it's Mills. I'm looking it up.
Me too.
Orioles roster, 2024.
Cedric Mullins.
Cedric Mullins. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He went
Yeah.
yard today, 3-run home run.
Did it?
Yep.
That dude. I tell you what, man. They're up the middle. They are stacked.
Yep.
So,
Yep, they're going to be a
so
good
I.
squad. A lot of people sleeping on them. A lot of people are already crowning the Yankees the winners of the American League East, but
Well, but I was looking at the Yankees. I was talking to Chris Miller, and
yeah,
he's a big Yankees fan.
we'll
And
pray for him.
you know, yeah, well, he needs salvation more
Yeah,
than anything else. So,
everyone
but
hates Chris. That's the team that I inherited. So
yes, yes. Well, anyway, um, but he was commenting on their pitching staff, and I went and looked at it, and their pitching staff is not good, man.
no, no,
It is
outside of
not
Garrett
good.
Cole.
Yeah, I mean they got rid of. I mean Severino's now with the Mets,
Yep.
and other than that, it's like, dude, they got nobody.
Yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see where they end up.
yeah, I think that's where Baltimore has them. They have them with the
Yeah,
pitching staff, and honestly, the Yankees have struggled over the years to stay healthy. A lot of their guys that are still on their roster, like they just struggle to play the whole year. They did pick up
yeah.
Juan Soto, which Juan Soto might be he might be a top 5 player in Major League Baseball right now. Um, if
He's
he can stay
streaky though,
healthy,
man.
he is streaky.
He's streaky.
But when he's hot, I don't no, there's not a pitcher in baseball that wants to pitch to him.
Did you
Um,
ever see him when he played here in Harrisburg?
no, no, I personally I don't like him all that much. But
Tell you what, he is not a big guy. He
really,
is not a big guy now, not at all. He might be 6 foot,
oh
but
wow,
I don't think he's any taller than that. But
he looks
the dude
bigger
is
on television.
he's built like a freaking spark, not a spark plug, fire plug. If he's built like a spark plug, that'd be a little bit.
Yeah, I was
What?
like, where are you
What?
going with this? Where's the spark plug? My second follow-up question is, what is a fire plug?
What is a fire plug?
Yeah, what's a fire
Short
plug?
and stocky.
Okay.
You know, the fire hydrant. They call it a fire plug.
I have literally never heard it called a fire plug.
Come on, man.
Never
You
one
gotta
time in my life. You're
and
showing your age there, Baldo.
that's right up there with Dink, man. Come on.
Yeah, well, no, I don't. Don't put those in the same category. No,
Stink, you know.
a fire plug. Anybody in the chat ever heard a fire plug?
Yeah,
I need to know if I'm the odd man out here or if
he's built
Baldo's
like a
just an
fire
old man.
plug. Built
Never,
like a fire plug.
never heard of that before in my life.
Oh my word, dude. Come on.
Um,
No. So who you got? So you got them winning the AL, right?
yeah,
You got them. You got them going to the series.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What about National League?
So, well, real quick, I'll just give you my rundown. So I have the O's winning the AL East. I have the Guardians winning the AL Central, and I have the Texas Rangers winning the AL West.
Okay.
And then in the NL, I have winning the NL East.
Oh my word.
I have the Cardinals winning the NL Central, going from worst to first,
Wow.
and I have the Dodgers winning the West. But then my series is Phil's O's.
Bills. Oh,
Phil's
I
O's.
don't.
Phil's in 6.
I don't know.
And then I got Adley winning AL MVP. I got Bryce winning NL MVP. Garrett Cole winning AL Cy Young. Spencer Strider winning NL Cy Young. And then, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yep,
Okay.
I got it
Well.
all planned out. So when it happens, just like I said it,
Okay.
we'll be back here in October, and you guys can be like, oh my gosh, Aaron, you are such a genius when it comes to baseball. You
Well,
guys know
I don't know.
you know exactly what you're talking about.
You saw what your brother said.
Oh,
Homer
he's
pick.
listen, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. But so all I'll say to that. Okay, so last year the Braves beat the Phillies by it was like 10 games or something, right?
Yeah.
Bryce Harper did not play for the first 2 months of the season, two and a half. Trey Turner, he played, but he didn't show up until August.
Yeah.
If those two guys can stay healthy and consistent, I think we will be right there with the Braves the entire year.
Dude, but see, that's the problem, man. That's see, that's the Mets problem too. The Mets, their pitching staff. I mean, dude, at one point they had Syndergaard and Degrom and Harvey. I'm like, dude, there's
Oh,
nobody that should beat him.
yeah,
Nobody should beat him. But then it all falls apart. And once that falls apart, do you have the team built around them in order to be able to pick it up? And most of the time, it's no,
yeah.
because you can't afford to keep those guys long term, and bring in other people. So it's tough. It's tough.
Kyle, shut up. I've never said that one time about Penn State. Shut your mouth. Cantu, welcome in, brother. Good to see you. Um,
Too funny. Too funny.
so one of the low key one of my favorite pickups this year for the Phils was they signed Whit Merrifield.
Yeah.
So I know
Yeah.
he's getting older, right? He's on his way out, not in. But
Dude's
that
consistent though.
that
He's
guy he's
consistent.
consistent and he can freaking play anywhere
Yeah.
you need him. He can
Yeah.
play I think any infield spot. He can play two of the three outfield spots well, right? So like I love that. If they get him in 3 or 4 games a week and just bounce him around to some of the guys like the Alec Bohms, the
Yeah.
Bryson Stotts, that hit lefties well or don't hit righties well, the Brandon Marshes or the Johan Rojas's, right? You know you're going to get production from Bryce. You know you're going to get production from Schwarber, from Castellanos. You know you're going to get production from those guys. But if you can get move the chess pieces around a little bit, right? Plug Wit into different
Yeah.
places where he can be successful. I think that's a game changer.
Dude, I
Um,
tell you, I have to say that he is one of the fastest Caucasian gentlemen I've ever seen in my life.
Whit Merrifield.
Dude, yeah,
There you go. He's going to
just
steal some bases too.
he is the fastest Caucasian gentleman I've ever seen.
Perfect.
So,
And he's a
yeah,
Phil, so we'll see. But then too,
yeah,
like I didn't even realize this, but I was looking the other day at like they did a thing on Major League Baseball. ESPN did it on Major League Baseball bullpen power rankings, and they had the
Okay.
Phillies at number one, which
Really?
that is like so. I mean, they were good last year. We had a good bullpen last year, but years prior, like we were awful. We were
Yeah.
awful. So it was really
You
good to see that like they finally addressed that. They finally brought some arms in that like that were good and consistent. And
I think that the bullpen is one of the most difficult positions to fill
yeah,
as from an administrative point, because you never know what these guys are going to do. You
yep,
know, I mean, a guy can be a stud one day and the next he can just be terrible.
yeah,
You know, and they have such a short um, a small sample size that typically when they blow up, it blows everything up. You
yeah,
know, so it's. I would venture to say that it's probably one of the most difficult. How many guys are typically in a bullpen? Six, eight.
yeah.
You know,
Like
something
probably
like
yeah,
that.
probably eight.
Yeah, and then the other ones are all starters. So you look at it and say, six guys. How hard can it be to pick up six guys that are only going to pitch 50 or 60 innings a year?
Right.
But it's tough, man. It is tough.
Yeah, I I'm still a little bitter about our bullpen last series or last year in particular. One guy who's a Baltimore Oriole now, and so a guy at work he's like, oh yeah, yeah, we got Craig Kimbrell from you, ha ha ha, and I was like, good, take him, get him out of here, go, be gone. But it's
Oh
exactly like
man.
you just said. So, with bullpen guys, like when they're on, a lot of times they
Yeah.
stay on for a
Yep.
good long while. But when
Yep.
they're off, they can be off for a little while too. And you see a lot of times they'll
Yeah.
get like optioned down to like AAA for a little while just to hit the reset button on them. And Craig Kimbrell last year, like if you brought him in a low leverage situation with a couple run lead, he was going to be lights out. But
Right.
if you brought him
Yep.
in and he had a little bit of pressure on him with a runner on and only a one run lead or something like that, you might as well
Yeah.
count at least that one runner's going to score because that's what happened.
Well, that was the same thing with Edgar Diaz for the Mets. You
Yep.
know, when he first came over, dude, he was horrible. I hated seeing him come in because he would blow leads, he would blow games. I mean, dude, it was nothing for him to give up 5, 6 runs in a third of an inning.
Yeah.
You know, and then last year he ended up just being lights out. You know,
Yeah.
like the old Edgar Diaz, but you just don't know what you're gonna get. You know, that's the biggest problem. So.
Wow, Chad.
Yeah.
That's a Phillies fan too. What an idiot.
Sorry, dude. Sorry.
Phillies O's World
Yeah.
Series. Phillies in 6. That's what I said, Chad.
Oh
Take it to
my
the
god,
bank.
dude. Come
Went
on,
to a
man.
World Series 2 years ago. They would have been in a World Series last year if it wasn't for Craig Kimbrell. You guys act
Dude,
like I'm
I,
you guys are
I'm
acting like I'm
sorry.
saying this about a team that won 45 games last year. Come
I'm
on.
sorry, but I don't see anybody beating the Dodgers. You
You
know, I
so
don't see
so again
anybody.
you say that, but baseball is a game or is the game. Baseball is the sport where
Yeah.
you can't. We've seen it, right? I mean, we had Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout on the same squad for how many years, and they didn't even sniff the playoffs.
Yeah, but you also have to realize that the Dodgers got more than just two
Oh,
guys.
sure, for
You know,
sure. But
I mean,
injuries can happen. Anything can happen in a 162
yeah.
game season. Uh,
Well, that's
yeah,
what we were just talking about. I
yep,
mean, their middle relief might just go in the toilet. They
yep.
might end up giving up 8 runs a game or whatever. But still, I still think that they have so much freaking talent. It's just it's never ending. You know,
They
it's
literally
never ending.
have a MVP candidates, a winner
Yeah,
and a second place and a third place, batting third,
yeah.
fourth, and fifth. That's so freaking
How,
crazy.
how crazy is that?
Yeah,
That is
that's
crazy.
wild. Uh,
I,
so
I don't know that that's ever happened before.
yeah, I don't know. That's wild.
So
But speaking of Shohei, we were talking about this a little bit earlier in these the gambling accusations and stuff like that, and
yeah.
should anything happen to Shohei, spring training Phillies lead the whole league with strikeouts. Yeah. I look at spring training a lot and think, wow, this is really relevant and this really matters to the to the baseball season. Nope, it doesn't. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
so Shohei, man, it's disappointing to hear all that. I honestly think that I don't think there's any involvement with Shohei at all. Um, I
Well,
was
I would
talking,
tend to agree with you.
yeah,
I was just gonna say, I think that he is so focused on his craft that, I mean, he's got so much going on, dude. He's got obviously twice as much since he pitches and hits. Obviously, this year he doesn't have it because he's not going to pitch, but
yep,
he's still got all that stuff going on. And you know, I heard, as I was saying earlier when we were talking, Aaron, I heard that, that initially he thought that he could just help pay off the debt, and that, he never bet on games, he never had anybody bet for him, he never bet on any sports at all. He doesn't gamble.
yeah,
And then when he realized what it was, that the guy was actually stealing money from him and everything else, that's when it all kind of hit the fan. So, I don't think he had anything to do with it. I think he's naive. He's still a kid, making buku bucks, but I think that he just turned a blind eye to it, and said, I've got other things to concentrate on, and went on.
yeah. I think so. It's funny. I was talking to a guy at work today, and I saw some comments online, and some of the things they're saying were like, yeah, like you mean to tell me he wouldn't know if that much money was missing from his account or whatever? And I was like, you know what? He's worth so much. He very well might not. Obviously, if I had $1 million in my account and all of a sudden, I woke up one day, and it was gone, yeah, I would know it. But that's because I only had $1 million and now the $1 million is gone.
Right.
Um,
Right.
if I had, several $100 million in my bank account and I woke up and $1 million was gone, I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't notice it. No.
House
Um,
payment.
yeah, yeah, whatever. But you and I were talking too about um, because he's so involved in what he does in his craft, right? And all these celebrities, these actors and actresses, musicians, athletes, right? They have people, they hire people to do these
Yep.
things.
Yep.
So I can't put that on Shohei because he's probably not looking at it with, under the microscope like you and
Right.
I, would be. Um, he's just
Well, I
doing his
think
thing and he's trusting those people that he's paying. He's trusting them to handle his stuff.
I think the whole thing boils down to too is it's all relative.
Right.
If he was making $100,000, then he'd know if that much money's been is gone.
Right.
Just like you and I. If I'm missing $500, I know it because it's all relative. But until it makes that kind of impact, you're not going to notice it. Now that being said, if it comes out that what, so let's say, Aaron, it comes out that he did bet on games. What are they going to do? Do you think they'll do anything?
Well, so that's I got in that conversation with somebody too because they've kind of set the precedent with Pete Rose,
Right.
right? I mean, they've
Right.
essentially banned him from
Right.
everything. So are you going to do that
Right.
to probably the best baseball player to ever play the game? Like how
Yep.
do you
I
handle
know.
that?
I know.
I feel like you would have to,
Right.
but if you
Right.
do, like that would also hurt baseball a lot.
It would. It would. But I think I don't know though, because I look at it from perspective of saying, so it's been, dude, what has it been? It's been probably, I think the whole Rose thing happened in what, like the mid '80s? Is that when it was? I don't even remember
I
anymore.
guess it would have had to be.
But it's basically come back to a
You
point
know
where
what?
everybody is saying,
He's
just,
worth so much.
the guy made a mistake. He's paid dearly for it. I mean, he's still, dude. I don't know. We've talked about my collection.
Yeah.
So I bet you I've got, I don't know, probably 25 or 30 autographs of Rose on different stuff.
Jeez.
And he charges like, he's cheap. He's like probably 40 or 45 bucks an autograph.
Wow.
But you look at all the stuff he signed. So outside of that, he's still paid. he's still paid to the fact that he's not in the Hall of Famer. He can't
Because
he can't say, he can't go to Cooperstown for the enshrinements and all that stuff.
yeah,
So he's still on the outside looking in. But I think public sentiment has come to the point where they're willing to say, you know what, he made a mistake, he's paid for it, he deserved to be in
he
the Hall
does
of Fame.
deserve to be there. Yeah,
And I agree with it. I think he does degree. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm anxious to see kind of the developments that come because obviously this is just the tip of the iceberg with this situation. Baseball, they're gonna dig into the whole Otani and level of involvement and all that kind of stuff. So I'm anxious to see what comes out of it. Shohei, when he did his press conference the other day, just said like he's focused on baseball. He's focused on what he needs
yeah,
to do for the season and for the Dodgers, and then his people are gonna handle everything. So
right.
I don't
It'll
know.
be interesting, Aaron, to see if so. Let's say that Shohei was not a top level athlete. All right. Let's say that he wasn't the superstar that he is. Let's say that he's just an average Joe. You know,
Yeah,
where do you think that puts him? So for instance, if he bet on baseball, obviously for us it's not illegal. You and I can go bet on anything that we want to.
right.
You know. But if I get in trouble, doing something that's against the law, I'm going to pay for it, you know?
Yeah,
So if that happens, how does what's you've got to do something. And to put it in another light, when that does happen, if they don't do anything to Shohei, what does that do for Rose then?
yeah.
How are they going to handle that
Well,
situation?
yeah. So that's kind of what me and my buddy were talking about. We're like one of them sets the precedent for the other. So
Right.
Pete Rose is banned. So if you do find out that there's a level of involvement with Shohei, then you would arguably have to ban him too.
Right.
But if you
Right.
don't, then you have to lift the ban on Pete Rose because now you're setting a precedent that says this is okay,
Right.
right?
Right.
So yeah,
Exactly.
and like I said,
You know,
I'm a firm believer. I'm with you. I think that Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Um, I'm
well,
also the same thing with like the big home run guys back in the late '90s,
yep.
McGuire, Bonds.
Yep.
Yeah, especially like like Barry Bonds, dude, and I mean even Mark McGuire and Sosa. Like you can take steroids to get jacked, but you still have to be able to hit the ball. Steroids aren't
Yeah.
going to help you hit the
Yeah.
ball. Um,
I guarantee
Bonds
you
in
that if I
particular.
I guarantee that if I took steroids, I wouldn't be able to hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah,
You know,
100%. Yep.
I I might foul it off a time or two, but there's no way I'm hitting it 400, 500 feet.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
60 times, 70 times, right? Like,
yeah,
jeez.
yeah. Going back to Shohei too. If so, it not only does that for Rose. What about like Shoeless Joe Jackson? He basically got banned for throwing baseball, quote unquote. And the Black Sox. I mean, you got all those guys that something's gonna happen if nothing happens to him, and it's found out that he was involved in it. It's I think it's gonna hurt baseball bad.
Yeah, well,
You know?
you could, yeah, either way, right? If,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
Yep.
know. It'll be really interesting to see. Like I said, it's
Yep.
not going anywhere. Excuse me, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. They're going to be big
Yeah.
time digging into that.
Well, and another thing is too. I don't see anything if whatever it is. I don't see any repercussions from it until after the season's over. Even though we're hearing about it now,
Yeah,
I don't think anything's gonna happen until after the season's over.
yeah, which is
So
crazy because the season's not over for like 6 months.
yeah, easily.
April, May,
So
June, July, August, September,
yeah. Your
October.
buddy
Jeez.
your buddy Chad makes a good point. He says if something happens, if they ban him or whatever, he could just go home and play.
Yeah,
He's not banned from Japan or
from
China or any of those.
the Nippon League or whatever it's called.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah.
I tell you what, speaking of that, I had a buddy that played over in Korea,
Okay.
and it was crazy. He said it was nuts.
What happens to him?
He got drafted right out of high school, and was in the minors for 19 years,
Jeez.
and made it up to the majors for about 3 weeks with Detroit,
Okay.
and then after that happened, he got signed to go over to Korea for high six figures. So I was like, dude, that's crazy, you
Yeah,
know. But he said they're nuts over there, you know. I mean, people going crazy and filling, packing the stands, and
I've
the
heard
way that they,
the baseball is like very competitive too. Like it's good
yeah,
baseball. You're like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So interesting.
interesting. Yeah,
But Chad makes a good point, you know. He's
yep,
like, hey, if they ban me here, I'll just go back home. Who
yep.
cares? So
I don't know if he would. That'd be interesting to see too. If he would make the same amount of money, or if he would maybe
yeah, I
not the
don't.
same, but he'd still
I
make money.
I would say that he probably would. I don't know that he'll make as much because I'm not sure what kind of money they've got over there for that kind of stuff.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So interesting.
$600 million, $700 million. Sheesh.
Yeah, just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
It's a big bucket, but it's just a drop in it.
Right. Oh man. So the
So
or yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead, dude.
Um so talking about his salary. You and I were talking about this a little bit earlier. We were talking about actually you, me, and Nikki B. So for those of you who are in here, Nikki B had some stuff going on. He was planning on being on here tonight, but he had some stuff come up, so it's just me and Baldo. But we were all talking about this afternoon about the differences between like people who are worth a lot of money and people like us, who go to work every day and have bills and have families and things like that. And I guess the people who are way up top, I guess they still have families and pay bills too, but it's different. Um, so like these guys, right? Like the Shohei Otanis of the world who have $700 million contracts and whatnot. Um, we were talking about like their retirement, right? And like, do these guys have to prepare to retire, right? So that's something that we think about a lot, right? We have our 401k and our Roth IRAs and all that kind of stuff, that we're trying to invest in to prepare to retire. Um, these athletes, these musicians, these actors and actresses. What do you think that looks like in comparison to what we do?
I see that was the interesting thing that I brought up when we were talking about it. It's like, okay, so do they? I mean, do they put money away? I mean, because sooner or later, I don't care who you are, your cash flow is gonna dry up. You
Yeah,
know, so you've got to have something to live on. And if they want to maintain their lifestyle, I mean, I don't know about you, Aaron, if you've ever talked to a financial planner, but every financial planner I've ever talked to tells me that when I retire, I need to have $1 million in in waiting for me in order to maintain my lifestyle.
oh wow.
And I'm like, and I finally got to the point where I'm like, there's no way. I don't need $1 million to maintain my lifestyle.
Yeah,
Because my lifestyle will change because I won't have a house payment, I won't have
yeah,
living expenses like I do now and all that kind of stuff. So I don't. But I still have to prepare for it. I
right.
still have to put money away. Otherwise, when I get to the end of my uh, career, all I'm going to have is Social Security if it's still there.
If it's still there,
So
we were talking about
right.
that too.
Yeah, yeah. And I think when we were down south talking to Nick um, about it, and he said that when Social Security was set up, I believe it was set up by Roosevelt, FDR. I believe when it was set up, they set the retirement age or the Social Security age when you could start drawing at 62, because the life expectancy for that time was 62. So Social Security was only set up to take care of people a couple years after
Couple
that.
years, and
Right.
now we're living until we're 80 and 90 and
Well, yeah, and my
wow,
dad my dad lived on Social Security for 30 years is what he lived on Social
jeez,
Security for. 30 years. So you look at it in perspective as saying, uh, I mean, my parents, one passed away in '01, one passed away in '17. And my dad was 93 years old when he passed away, you know.
wow,
But as a couple, they never made more than $25,000. That was the highest that they ever made was $25,000. So they had no choice but to do what they could. You
Right.
know.
Yep.
Now, my dad was a smart guy because what he did is he went and bought CDs. At that point, CDs interest rates. What do you get now? 0.5%, something like that.
Yeah.
Back in the day when he was investing, he's getting 19 and 20% interest on those.
Jeez. Okay.
So he had, I think when he retired, he had like 8 or 10 CDs that he was drawing. I think the least he was getting was like 17%.
Wow,
So
that's crazy.
but there, it's all relative. I've easily made 3 4 times what my father and mother did. You
Yeah.
know, but I still got to prepare for that
Right.
because I won't have the luxury of living off of whatever.
Yeah.
I think that Social Security is still going to be there. I mean, I'm 61 years old, so I've only got maybe 10 years left. But I still think that Social Security is going to be there. But I don't know if I'll be able to survive on it.
Right.
So I've got to prepare. These guys who are making, what, how long is Shohei's contract? Is it 10 years?
10 years, 700 million.
So he's making $70 million a year. You know, um, and I can't even imagine trying to spend seventy
Yeah.
million dollars in a year.
Well, and that's another thing that I was going to bring up. So, when I've thought before, like, oh man, if I had a contract like that, I would not spend my money the way that I've seen these celebrities, spend their money because um, some of them just they go nuts, right? Because I mean
Yeah,
that's a stupid amount of money, right? Like who is honestly like if I were to get a contract like that, I can think of a couple things that I would do. I would buy myself a very nice house, me, my wife, my daughter. I would probably well, I'd definitely pay off my student loans. I would probably buy a house for all of my family, right? I'd buy a house for probably my brother, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, and I'd buy
yeah,
myself a nice pickup truck. Like I've always wanted a pickup truck, like a brand new. Give me the high end one, right? I've said before I didn't need the high end one. If I have $70 million, I'm getting the high end Chevy
yeah,
Silverado, right?
yeah. There you go.
Um,
Chevy
oh
Silverado.
yeah, dude, I
Oh
want a
my!
Chevy Silverado, big time, big time. Give me this
We're
the
not we're not talking Hummer. We're not talking.
no, 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 no. I look, we got to watch the gas, right? I'm only worth $70 million a year. Um, no, but honestly, like $70 million, what in the world?
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
I again, this is me. This is me. This is not $70 million a year, Aaron talking. So it's easier for me to say that. Now, if I had $70 million in my bank account, maybe I become a different person. I don't know. But like, these guys that have 10, 15 cars and they're supercars and they're hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s per car, like why?
Yeah, yeah,
Why? For
yeah.
what? Like you already have the clout, right? You're Shohei Ohtani or you're Kobe Bryant or you're LeBron James, right? You don't what do you need all these vehicles for? What do you
Hey,
need?
Aaron, Kobe's dead. Just FYI.
I'm aware, but I'm just saying like these types of people, right? That
Yeah,
like they
yeah,
have I remember my brother and I we used to watch on MTV Cribs. Do
yeah,
you remember
yeah,
that show?
yeah, yeah. I do. I
And
do actually remember that show.
dude, like that show was wild. The amount of money that people would put
Yeah,
into like these homes just because they had the money, right? And it's like, yeah, but you just live with your wife and two kids and you have 30,000 square feet. What do you
yeah,
need all that for? And that's what like I don't know if you've ever seen Jason Kelsey, like him and his wife and their kids. They have a nice house, but like they keep it like they live below their like well below their means. And
it's
to me
not
that's
extreme.
just no, that's just a smart way to do it. You
Yeah,
save you keep the money, right? I mean, again, it's okay to have nice things, so have a nice pickup truck or have a nice house, right? But like, man, that money can be used so many other places better. You can set your kids up, you can set your grandkids up and your great grandkids, you can invest it, you can donate it to charities, you can feed people who are hungry, right? Like,
I think though that I think, Aaron, that mentality is so prevalent that that's why a lot of these guys get taken advantage of. They look at it from a perspective of saying, okay, Aaron, if you're making $70 million a year, I'm going to come to you and say, okay, buddy, we've been friends a long time.
Yeah.
You know, I've taken care of you when I could.
Yeah. Kick
So,
rocks. Yeah.
and that's what happens to them. That's what happens to them. You hear all the time about these guys getting ripped off because they 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 just don't think about it, you know. And yet, what they've got to do is they have to look at the future. Kelsey's a smart guy.
Yeah.
Not Travis, Jason.
Jason.
Jason's a
Jason's a
smart.
smart guy.
You know,
Yeah.
he's a smart guy, and so living within his means, even though that means might be, I don't know what he makes a year. He might make 10 million a year, whatever.
Yeah.
But living within that means is what you've got to do, and that's the bottom line. You know, and these guys, I think, like LeBron. I look at LeBron, and he came into the league as a high school senior, basically.
Yep.
Going from making nothing to making millions of dollars a year, and now it's like, oh wow, I can do whatever I want.
Yep.
So, and that's what they do, and then finally, 20 years later, they're looking like, oh, where's all my money at? Where did
Yeah.
it go?
Well, and see,
So,
and Kyle, so to your point, I understand what you're saying, because they can. Kyle says he would enjoy it a good bit. Dream truck, a couple of them. Dream car, a couple of them. Acres of land, a good house on it, a vacation house. I hear you, but at some point, like you're only an athlete for
right,
15 years if you're lucky. A good majority of them don't even make it 15 years,
right,
10 years, right? And that depends on your sport. So eventually, that contract, like it's not gonna be around for a long time. And so we're talking about like Shohei Ohtani, right, who's worth $700 million, or LeBron James, he's a billionaire. I think he cleared a
yeah.
bit. His net worth cleared $1 billion. But talk about some of these other guys, like these middle of the road guys, right? So like the
So
first name
let
that
me
popped.
say this, Aaron.
Yep.
Average NFL career. What do you think it is?
I'm gonna honestly, I might be shooting low here. I'm gonna say 4 years.
3.3 years.
Wow. Yeah.
3.3 years. So I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
So I'm the first name I'm thinking baseball. It's opening day. So the first name that popped in my head was Bryson Stott, right? Philly second baseman. He is
Yeah.
not he's not by any means the best to ever play the game. He's not even the best Philly of all time. He's a good second baseman, right? Good one, and he's making good money. So for a player like him to make that money and go out and just spend it like you have it and have all the cars and have the nice house, like your career is not going to be as long as Shohei Ohtani's and Bryce Harper's, right? The money is not going to be there as much as it is for these other guys. So you do have to plan, right? You do
Right.
have to,
Right.
and again, we talked about, right? That's why they have these financial advisors and planners and stuff like that to help them. Um, and Kyle, like I said, that's not to say I wouldn't live a little. Sure, I would. I would take care of my family. I would take care of some of the things that I want, but you also do still have to be mindful of your future. And honestly, like for me, it's my kids and my grandkids, like that to me is more important than having 13 vehicles
Yeah. Right.
that
Yeah.
are just going to sit in a garage and I'm barely going to drive them.
Grammy says, Kyle, don't forget Pappy and Grammy live-in quarters.
Yeah.
So in that new house he's going to build, there's got to be live-in quarters.
Grammy and Pappy are moving in, Kyle. You heard it here first.
I
Yeah.
think that that's the hard part for some of these guys. Like Stott, for instance. So I looked up the average baseball career. It's between 10 and 11 years. All right. So
Wow, that's
so
longer than I thought it would be.
yeah, me too. But their salaries I don't think are as high.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I wouldn't think
Um,
so, yeah.
I think the average major league salary is like it's over $1 million, and I think it's probably like 1.8 million somewhere in there is the average salary.
I'm looking it up.
But you think about it, and it's like, dude, they don't get it. They don't get it. They've had this talent their entire lives, and they don't realize that someday it's going to come to an end.
Yeah.
And if you don't prepare for it, you're going to get stuck.
Yeah.
It's just like with us. But sooner or later, my earning potential is going to go basically to zero. And
Yeah.
if I'm not prepared for that, I don't care how wonderful my wife is and how great she is. Do you hear that, dear? You hear that? I don't care
Mary,
how
you're
wonderful.
wonderful.
Um, she's not going to be able to take care of it. You
Yeah.
know, she's been at Holy Spirit Hospital for 25 years. You know, she makes a good salary, but if she doesn't prepare like with me, then we're going to be stuck. We're going to be up the creek, and that's the same way with these guys. It's all relative. You know, and
Yeah.
that's the thing that they don't realize. We look at them and say, "Dude, I can't believe he's making so much freaking money." Well, yeah, that's all fine and well, but he better prepare because sooner or later that all that money's going to go away.
Yeah, and the interesting part too, right? So we're talking a lot about athletes is like sometimes their careers come to an abrupt end. Like
Yeah, yeah,
so some of them you see like a steady decline from like 32 to 38, but
right.
like you look at players like this hurts to say, but Ryan Howard, man, his career went from like absolute stud to big old dud to the point where he couldn't even be on a minor league contract, man. Like it
Yeah,
was bad. And so,
yeah,
you know, was it lack of work ethic? Did he get his big money and that was all he wanted? I don't know. I don't know. But he went from potentially making a lot of money, and he did, to he couldn't even kick it in the minor leagues, and now he's worth like nothing.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if you
Well,
don't plan for that, right? Like Bryce Harper, right? So he's 31, so he's at the top, and he's gonna start doing this. Um, he's the type of player, right, that'll steadily decline. I think we saw
yeah,
like the old Phillies back in like 2008, right, when they won the World Series. Chase Utley was at his peak. Jimmy Rollins was probably a little bit past his peak, but they were all kind of starting to do this, and
right.
they did that, right? It was steady. But then, like I said, the Ryan Howards of the world, where it's just like one day
Yeah.
you have it, and the next day you don't.
Well,
And
and I think one of the bigger issues too, Aaron, is one of these guys who are coming up, the quote unquote can't miss prospects
yeah,
that think, oh, I've got the world by the tail. I'm going to make all this money, and if they don't pan out, then they're up the creek. So prime example, all right, a guy that I started following because he has the same last name as me, Lewis Brinson. You know,
yep,
dude was like number 5 at one point in prospect list. You know, right?
I didn't even know
Tore,
that.
yeah, tore the ball up in minor leagues all the way through AAA. Got to the majors, couldn't hit his weight.
Hmm.
You know, could not hit his weight, and so now I think he batted. I think his batting average in the majors is like 225 or something like that.
Shush.
You know, and he was supposed to be a stud. He got traded for Christian Yelich, MVP Christian Yelich. He was the what do you want to call it, the gold nugget in
Centerpiece.
the deal. Yeah, the centerpiece of that deal.
Wow.
And they got nothing for him. But
Wow.
he had all these expectations, and now, I mean, he played over in Japan last year, Korea, wherever he was at. You
Wow.
know, so just it's crazy. And I look at the same thing with like entertainers and actors and anybody, politicians. It's all the same. And you think about it, how in the world can these people be worth this kind of money?
Yeah.
You know, I look at it like Shohei. You're telling me the dude's generating enough money to pay for his salary?
Yeah.
Wow,
Well,
that's crazy.
yeah. So maybe he's not generating it by himself, but so I did the math on this before too. I'd have to look. Brian, you're not going to believe this. I actually made a spreadsheet. Um,
That is
so
surprising. That is
so
surprising.
I put in just like rough estimates for 162 game season. Obviously, half of them are home games. Um, I think I put like I looked up like the average stadium capacity and was like 40,000 or something like that, and then I said just for just for like a rough estimate, 4 people per car. So that's 10,000 vehicles, right? So just 10,000 vehicles and 20 bucks to park.
Yeah,
Hold
two
on,
hundred thousand dollars.
$200,000. multiply that by all the home games they have. What's 162? 81.
81.
81. So let me pull the calculator out here real quick. So 200,000 times 81. That there is
Yeah,
$16,200,000. That's just
just
parking.
for parking.
That's just parking. You didn't pay for
Yeah,
a ticket yet. You didn't get a hot dog. You didn't drink a beer. You didn't do anything. All you did was
yeah,
park. You're not even in the ballpark yet. So the amount of money that they're like that they're bringing in, and especially right. So if you're a big market team, if you're a Dodgers or the New
Yankees,
York
Reds.
Yankees or
Yeah,
the Mets or the Phillies even or
yep,
some of these
yep,
teams that are selling out or close to selling out every game. Oh my lord.
yeah,
You have
yeah.
no
It's
problem
crazy.
paying those salaries. And then you look at, right? So not even just the ballpark, but you look at jersey sales online and you look at office,
Yeah,
decorations and clothing and like, oh my gosh, the amount of money that is coming from these markets. And it's funny because you and I were talking. So you were in that conversation with somebody earlier about like sports and the arts, but like the amount of money that's in sports is unfreaking believable. It's
yeah,
unbelievable, and
yeah.
I mean, we're kind of in that now too with Keystone Live, right? I mean, we're moving
Right.
autographed jerseys, and I mean, we're seeing that we're making money off of it. So I'm not complaining, but
No, no,
it's
not at all.
wild.
But it's just it's mind-boggling,
Yeah.
and I think that that's the hard part that we have as regular people is wrapping our head around the fact that these owners are crying about, oh, it costs too much, yada yada. I'm like, dude. And they want people to pay for their stadiums and all that kind of stuff. It's like, dude, you got to be kidding me.
Yep.
I just looked up the Dodgers payroll. The Dodgers payroll for 2024 is $209.1 million dollars. That's their payroll
That's just
for 1 year.
for their
For one,
roster for one
right,
year.
right. So, but you think about it, when you put that in perspective, you just made, what'd you say, 16 million off of
16
parking?
million just off of parking. Yeah.
Right, right.
So
So now,
let's say their average ticket price is 60
probably,
bucks.
probably, yeah,
60
yeah,
bucks and you multiply that by 40,000.
yeah,
That's $2 million per game.
yeah,
Multiply that by 81. There's 194 million dollars.
yeah.
So
So they basically,
between your parking
yeah,
and
go
your
ahead.
tickets, you just paid your entire team's salary for the entire year. Now you're
Right.
selling hot dogs and now you're selling, I think
Merchandise.
when we did this before, we estimated like 20 bucks per person at baseball games. Obviously, you have like for concessions, and I think that's even
That's
on the
cheap.
safer side. Yeah,
That's cheap.
because so like my wife, like so we're going to the Phillies home opener tomorrow. She'll be like she's one of those people. No, we're not spending it because it's way too expensive. And then you have the other people that are like, hey, give me beer number 6, beer number 7, beer number 8, right? And
Well,
it's
not beer, but
well,
yeah.
but yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you're saying. But they're $12 a piece, or
Yeah.
$13 a
Yeah.
piece,
It's
and
crazy.
so even say, okay, so say it's 40,000. I'm getting into all the math. 40,000. Say it averages out. I still think this is being safe. We're gonna go $30 per person. There's 1.2 million. You multiply that by 81. There's another $97 million. So
Jeez,
you
that's
know
crazy.
yeah,
Until you start looking at it that way, you don't realize the money that it generates.
right.
And you got the TV contract.
Yep.
You got the concessions. They not only make money off the concessions. The typically the companies that run the concessions pay the teams
Yep.
a fee as
To
well.
come in and
You
set
know,
up shop.
right.
Yep.
So
And why
so
wouldn't
and
you?
all the royalties that they're it's just crazy.
Yep.
And you were talking earlier about the conversation I was having with the other guy, and I'm looking at a perspective of saying it doesn't make any sense. I mean, and I'm part of the problem. I've got a basement full of baseball memorabilia
Brian, that's not a
that
problem. That is not a problem.
well, okay,
I
I'm
guess it
part of
depends who
the
you ask.
mayor.
Mary probably thinks it's a problem. Yeah.
I'm glad she's not on right now. So, but I look at it and I'm like, wow, that is just freaking nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, look at us. You've got a shirt on. I've got a hat on. You've got stuff hanging on your walls. I mean, you know, and why do we do it, Aaron? Why
Yeah.
do we do it? You
I
know?
mean, I've got autographed jerseys sitting back here, guys that teams that I don't even, teams that I've never been a fan of. I mean,
Yeah,
I like Pablo Sandoval, but I
yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
the money's
And
there.
and and it's like you said earlier, we're seeing it every Friday night.
Yep.
You know, I mean, we're sitting in your basement. You know,
The man
your
cave, the dad pad.
yeah, and we got people, basically knocking down our door to give us their money for the chance. They don't even win, but for the chance that they're going to win.
Right?
You know, it's like,
Yep.
wow. I just it doesn't
Yep.
make any sense. But and it's not just sports too. You look at movies, theaters. Dude, when's the last time you were at a movie, Aaron?
Well, it's been a while since I've been to a movie because all the movies that have been out lately have been awful.
So we went and saw, what did we see? Um, oh, I can't remember the name of it. It was, Jack Reacher, the actor
Yeah.
that plays Jack Reacher.
Yep.
So he was in it. He was a father, lost his wife, all that kind of stuff. So we went to that. Tickets for that, it was a matinee. We went to a matinee, and tickets were still like $15 to get in.
Jeez.
And we didn't buy popcorn. We didn't buy anything else. Because I'm like your wife, and when I go to the theater, I'm like, you paying no $95 for popcorn and soda. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But still, how much money are they raking in? You know,
Yeah.
you hear about them saying, well, the theaters are struggling. They're not struggling, man.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Well,
We walked in there, and there was probably 50 or 60 people in the movie. So right there, 50 or 60, even at $10, you're looking at $500-$600,
yeah.
for one showing. And
Yep.
so,
Well, and then too, like the candy that they have, popcorn's not freaking expensive, right? And they turn around and sell that. I mean, if you were to figure out like the profit, like the percentage that they pay versus how much they make just off of popcorn alone, it'd probably blow our minds. But then
yeah.
also like the candy, they're buying that stuff in bulk, right? And they're
Oh,
si- they're
good.
s-
Yeah,
they're buying it for dirt cheap, and then they're turning around and selling a box of Junior Mints for $7, right? It's like
yeah,
I could go to
yeah,
the dollar store and get two of those for $1.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, but again, people are willing to pay it, so why
And I
not?
think that's the thing that people forget. It's, yeah, they're raking in the money, but until people
We're giving it to
stop,
them. Yeah.
that's right. Till
Yep.
they stop, it's not going to end. It's
So
not going to end.
one of my favorite places to go for the movies was a place when it was out near Valley Forge called the Movie Tavern.
Yeah,
Have you ever been there?
I have.
Okay.
I have.
So for those of you who, if anybody's watching and don't know what it is, the Movie Tavern is, it's a movie theater. You go in, you sit down, and there's tables that fold out over top of you. They bring out a menu, and you order like an actual meal. It's not like candy or popcorn. You can order chicken wings, or you can order a burger, or a salad, or whatever. They bring out your food once everybody's served food, then they show the movie.
Yeah.
Super cool place. I love it, but very expensive, like super expensive.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and again, like, so if you go out to like an Applebee's, you could probably get the same meal that you're going to get at Applebee's at the movie tavern. At Applebee's, you might pay $12.99, but at the movie tavern, you're going to pay $29.99. You know,
Right.
mark
Right.
it up like 100%.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And
you can complain about, oh my gosh, these prices are so high. But guess what? I'm still gonna come back when the next Star Wars movie comes out or when the
that's
next
it.
Avengers movie comes out.
That's
Um,
it.
Same thing with sports.
So
I was
let me ask you, Aaron.
Yeah.
Do you think so we understand that concept. Do you think that the like your mom and your grandma and all those people, do they do you think they look at it differently than we do?
um
So like your Grammy,
yeah.
she's in here so she can answer. But do you think that i- i- did she ever talk about, I can't believe we're paying this much for this?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Like what? What's she appalled by?
I would say like when we've had those conversations before, it's been about like her bill at the grocery store, or so my grandma she likes coupons,
Yeah.
and she uses those for a lot of things. So she'll always call us and brag when Aaron, it was $60 and they had a sale, and then I used this coupon and I got it down to 24.99 or whatever. But yeah, I mean she said things like that. I can't believe that was $60.
Yeah.
And it could
Yeah.
be groceries or it could be clothing. It could be, I know when, my mom and my Grammy, when they were like buying clothes for my daughter Ellie when she was born, and even still, um, even, clothing, right? For a shirt that's like this big, right? Used to be like $2.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's 12.99,
Yeah.
and stuff. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, for
It's
sure.
crazy. It's crazy. Well, and the other thing that's funny is that a lot of times what I'll do is I'll resell stuff.
Yeah.
I like on Poshmark or Mercari or eBay or Facebook Marketplace. I mean, so just to give you an idea, I went to Salvation Army with Michaela the other day and picked up a pair of Reeboks that had been I don't they were called Cardi B's. You know who Cardi B is?
Oh, unfortunately, I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that was the model of these Reeboks.
They were
All right.
Cardi B box.
Cardi B, yes, exactly. And so I looked at them, and they looked basically brand new. I mean, Mare thought they looked like orthopedic shoes, but that's beside the point.
Looking them
But
up.
yeah, Reebok Cardi B's, and they were like dark, not black, but they were shiny, shiny, almost like patent leather. And
Okay.
so at Salvation Army, I paid $8 for them. All right,
Okay.
put them on put them on Macari and sold them for $95.
No freaking way.
Yeah, can you believe that? It's
That's wild.
crazy.
Yeah.
And yet, I mean, it happens all the time. You
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
I bought a an autographed jersey at the Salvation Army when I was in South Carolina last time for $4. Sold it for $75. You know, people just it's like they go crazy, they lose their minds. And
Yeah.
I'm the same way. You know, I mean this Lewis Brinson stuff that's basically worthless. you know,
I wasn't gonna say it.
but here I am. I'm collecting it. I think I probably have probably 40 of his jerseys. I probably
Wow.
have I probably have 20 game used bats. I probably have 10 or 15 helmets. I probably have probably 8 or 10 batting helmets, and I've paid good money for all this stuff, man. But
Yeah.
it's like doesn't make any sense, but it's what I do.
Well.
And that's people's mentality.
Well, and let's also point out too. So you said that Lewis Brinson stuff is worthless, but even worth, right? Worth is
Yeah.
subjective, right? What's worthless to somebody else is not worthless to you. So obviously there's an appeal there to you, which makes it worth something. But I'm sure there's other people in the world that want to collect Lewis Brinson stuff too. Maybe not too many of them, but um, the market's out there for everything if you find the right buyer.
Yes.
Um, like you said, that Luke Kuechly to somebody obviously meant diddly squat because they turned it
Right?
over to a Salvation Army, and then you just picked it up and
Yeah.
turned it around
Yeah.
and made $71 off of it. Because you found the
Well,
right buyer.
yeah, well that's the whole thing. But I mean, who would have thought that back in the day that would have been the way it was?
Yeah.
That would have been the way it was. And yet people look at it and say that's just crazy. Michaela just showed me the game. Oh my goodness. What is it? Oh, Clemson's beating Arizona 77-72.
Ooh, how much time left?
Uh, 7 seconds.
Upset Central, everybody.
Yeah,
You heard it
that's
here first.
a, a 2 and a 6. So number 6 just beat number 2
A lot of
in the
people
Sweet
high on
16.
Arizona.
Yeah, I think UNC is going to win it all.
I hope not.
Kyle
Yeah.
said, or Aaron says, I don't even have any idea what's going on.
No, I'm all in. I was looking over here at CBS Sports, but Um,
Okay.
so
So,
I do my bracket every year. I put Duke in the national championship and winning it every year because I would rather win betting on my team than lose.
oh
If
my
so
goodness,
so
dude.
if Duke does win the national championship and I didn't pick them, I'd be sick. But let me ask you real quick, how freaking cool would a Duke UNC national championship game be? That would
That
be
would be
freaking sweet.
that
And
would
we
be
have
cool.
potential for it this year. Duke has
Yeah.
to get past Houston tomorrow night, which I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know, man. Houston, the last time I watched them, didn't look great. It didn't look great. They
See,
were they were really struggling.
Duke
So
did Duke did exactly what Duke does. They blew
yeah.
up and they had a great game, and that means they're going to implode. That's what they do. That's what they do. They go out and they beat the snot out of someone, and then in the next game they can't make a shot.
Really?
Yep,
Wow.
that's
Well,
what's
I
gonna
have
happen.
UNC winning it all, so
That's a
I
shame.
yeah. Well, it is what it is, man.
Who do you have them
It is.
playing?
Duke. I have it in
Ooh,
the final.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I'd be down. Just
yeah.
different result in
So
the national championship
your
game.
brother asked, did you look at the Cardi B's? Did you see
Yeah,
him?
yeah. Those are disgustingly ugly shoes, by the way. Yeah, those are terrible.
They are horrendous. I had him on Macari for like probably 3 or 4 weeks at $100, and not a sniff, nothing. I had lowered them $5 and they sold within an hour. So
Jeez,
it's crazy. So anyway, so
that's
Kyle,
terrible.
to answer your questions, that yes, they did have big soles.
They have
You know,
gigantic soles.
they look like orthopedic shoes. So
Not like
it,
Cardi B though, who has no soul.
yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Although she is a soul sister, she has no soul.
She has no soul. She's a sister.
So yeah. So this kind of discussion is interesting, Aaron, because you look at it from perspective of saying, from our perspective, this is crazy,
Yeah,
you know, but yet, if my dad knew what I made, he'd say, I can't believe that you're making that kind of money doing what you're doing, you
right.
know, and
Yep.
it's like it doesn't make any sense. But that I guess it all comes from what you come from and the perspective that you come from.
Yeah.
I look at my son, and he's a software engineer, and got that job because of hard work and all that kind of stuff. But the money he's making is like, oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me, dude.
Yeah.
I asked him when we were down there. I said, so I won't say anything, but I'm looking at how many hours of work a day do you work, and he told me, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Like
Okay,
3.
well, yeah, wasn't quite that bad, but I'm like, okay, well, I mean, and both him and Becca are working from home.
Yep.
You know, I'm like, wow,
So
that's just
so much
great.
changes, and it doesn't even take a long time anymore, right? I like the
Yeah.
evolution of things from 10 years ago. I think COVID really like hit the fast forward button
Yeah.
on a lot of things. And
Right.
now people are making stupid amounts of money to sit at home in their shorts and t-shirt and be logged in on a computer, because companies realize they could save money by not paying for a office building. And um, yeah, so much has changed. And you were saying about, like, when you were talking about your dad, we only know what we know, right?
Right. Right.
So our perspective is our perspective. So when you said that again, I went back to, like, um, we're watching sports and a bad umpire, right? He's behind home plate. We're watching on TV. We got the nice box right there, right? And it's just a little bit outside, right? There's a small little sliver, and he calls it a strike. And we're like, "What are you doing? You're blind." And then, but if you put yourself in his shoes, right?
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
perspective, he's standing behind a catcher, behind a batter. The pitch is coming in at this speed. He doesn't have a nice fancy box in front of him with the ball marker that comes in, right? So he doesn't know what he doesn't know, right? He's just trying to do the job to the
Right.
best of his ability,
Right.
right? So we're spoiled a lot of times. We're spoiled a lot of times, and then we can be really critical of others and not understand. And I've been
Yeah.
guilty of that a lot of times, right? Especially, again, I go to sports all the time, but poor refereeing or a quarterback, right? Like Russell Wilson last year, watching him play quarterback for the Broncos, there were so many times where like they're showing like, an aerial view and wide open wide receivers, and you're like, buddy, what are you doing? Like, make the throw. Never mind
Yeah.
the two or three 250 plus pound, D
Yeah.
linemen that are in his face with their hands in the air and um, stuff like that. So, it's really easy sometimes to sit back and look at others and say, well, you should be doing this or you should be doing that, but um, you know, we don't we don't really
And
know.
it's just, yeah, well, and I think that's a great point because you look at it from perspective. So I have umpired baseball, so I look at it from a little bit differently. But still, some of these guys, Angel Hernandez. I'm sure you know who
God
Angel Hernandez.
awful. Yeah,
He is the worst. I'm like, dude, how do you still, And that's the thing that even baffles me more. How in the world do you still have a job doing what you're doing, as
so
bad
bad.
as you are? Yeah,
Is he
and
still does he still have a job? I'm looking it up.
yeah,
Does
yeah,
he?
I'm
Oh,
pretty sure he does. I think if it wasn't last year, I think it might have been the year before that he actually did like a playoff game or World Series or something,
ugh.
But he's just horrible. There was a guy but with the last name of West that wasn't
Jerry
quite as bad.
West.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wasn't quite as bad, but still, he blew the White Sox the White Sox no hitter.
Armando Galarraga.
Yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
blew that game. That was a perfect game.
That was
A
not
lot.
that was not West. That was Jim Joyce.
Oh, was it Joyce?
Yeah, Jim
Okay.
Joyce.
All
Yeah, I
right.
remember
All
that.
right.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, that was
Obviously, I do
terrible.
too.
That was terrible, dude.
Yeah,
Uh
it was. It was. But still, you look at it and think, and that that type of income makes the Shohei Ohtani thing even worse.
yeah.
Because you look at it and say, okay, you've got all this money. If you're guilty of gambling, why? Why are you risking everything that you have to do that? When you're
Yeah.
making that kind of money, you know,
What do
I
you
mean,
need
it
to
was just
gamble for?
exactly. I mean, so you're telling me that being able to hit a baseball 500 feet and throw it at 100 miles an hour is not a rush enough that you've got to go out and gamble and lose and get yourself in trouble.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
That's something
So
else we could talk about, sometime is like obviously, there's people that deal with like addictions because for those reasons, right? Because it's a rush, because it's it gives them this feeling of, oh my gosh, oh, I could win it big. Um,
yeah, yeah,
and how that can destroy you as a person and can destroy. I mean, obviously, like you just said, Shohei Ohtani, who's been blessed with all these skills and abilities,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
and if it is found out that he was the one, he was maybe not driving the car, but he was in the car, right, and he was a
Right,
part of this.
right,
Like, what
right,
are you, man? Like, what are you doing? You're potentially throwing away a $700 million contract
right,
for a
right.
chance at winning, a couple
Well,
$1 million. Like, what?
and to go it's even worse. I mean, you look at that. Oh crap! What was his name? The tight end for the Patriots got himself in trouble and
Aaron
hung himself.
Hernandez.
Yeah, Aaron Hernandez. Look at him, dude. I mean, it wasn't even about money for him. It was about I don't know what it was about. Everything that he went through. I mean, dude, to be basically a mass murderer,
Yeah.
and throw away that, I'm like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Doesn't make any sense. So I have to ask you, Aaron, have
Yep.
you ever gambled?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So was it at a casino or on your phone or what?
It's like sports bets, parlays, and stuff like
Okay.
that on
Like
DraftKings
DraftKings.
or yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I tell you what, I have too, not a lot,
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter if I'm buying a lottery ticket or if I'm buying a raffle ticket or if I'm playing fantasy football and have to pay an entry fee. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm donating
Right.
because
Yeah. Exactly.
I never win. I never win. So, and I can see how that, if you get a little taste of winning, I can see how that could say, okay, I'm going to win everything back that I've lost.
Right.
So like Shohei's interpreter, I can see how he could say, okay, even though I've lost $1 million, if I bet $1 million, I'm going to make 3 so I can pay it back and still have
And
something to
still be
work
in
with.
the green. Yeah.
Right. And so I can see the mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that we all rationalize that at times. So
Yep.
it's easy to get to, especially if you win. If you win, you're done,
Yeah, you're
man.
done.
I don't see how it can't.
So it's funny because like I said, betting on like sports parlays and stuff like that. So I've set like safeguards on the app.
Yep.
Like you can set like it'll only allow
Yep.
you to deposit a certain amount of money per week or something like that. And I honestly, mine set at like $25. Like it's low.
Right. Right.
Um, but I've never had the itch like if I get on there right and I bet my $25 I don't win anything, I'm not like, I gotta download another app and
Sure.
download it again
Sure.
or and it's funny, I don't know if Nick's in here, it says there's 3 people in here watching, but um Nick and other people have told me that I'm a very lucky person when it comes to winning, like raffles
Yeah.
and things like that. So for instance, the one night I'll never forget, we were at your house actually, me and Nick and Becca and maybe Hans Fickner or somebody. I don't know. There was a group of us, but we went down to Sheets. And I don't know why. I very, very rarely, it might have been Hans who bought some because I think he played some scratch off tickets, often. But I had a $10 bill in my pocket. I was like, screw it, let's do it. So I went over, I put my $10 bill in the machine. I bought one $10 scratch off ticket. I won $300 and I was done. I took it up, I cashed it in, and like Nick and Becca, they're like, dude, what? Like, how did you just like you got that lucky and whatnot? And but I'm thankful that it didn't become like, oh, I won $300. Like, let me buy
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
more tickets and try to, you know.
Well, three
Um,
thousand. Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
there's definitely been times where I've won in parlays, but it's like again, it's about self control and like immediately when I do, if I do win something, it comes right out. It's not like I'm not betting again. No, let me double down. Um, I try, I don't
Well,
do all
yeah.
that, but
Well, I tell you what, you're one of the unique ones.
yeah,
Because
well, and
I
that's what
know. I
I'm
mean,
thankful that it's
you,
not
you.
hard.
I have to agree with Nick. You are one of the luckiest guys I've ever seen in my life. I mean, all those jerseys that you have, the bats,
Yeah,
the whole 9 yards. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. You need to play the lottery, Aaron.
maybe I should. But like
So,
so there was a guy that we used to work with at Amazon. His name was Justin, and that guy, man, oh my lord, he was going around Amazon trying to get people to buy in. He wanted to buy an entire book of $20 lottery tickets, and he was trying to get people to contribute. And I forget it was how much, $500 or $1,000 a person, and
oh my,
whatever we
wow,
win, we'll divide this many ways, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, bro, you got a problem. Like this, we would get paid on Fridays, and we would
yeah,
always go down to Sheets on payday, like when we got off work. We'd get off at like 3 in the morning, and we would go down to Sheets and we'd get a sandwich or something, and we'd just sit there and hang out for a little bit before we went home and went to sleep. And every time he would come back to our table with scratch off lottery tickets, and not like $1 ones. They were like $20 ones. He'd come back with a
wow,
stack of like 10 of them. So he's spending $200 of his paycheck on these things, and he'd
wow.
scratch them all off, and he'd get excited. Dude, I won $60. No, you actually lost $140, right? You spent 200, you
Yeah,
won 60, so you're down. You're in the red. And he just like then he wouldn't win, so he'd go buy more to try to make up for the money that he did
yeah,
lose initially, and
yeah.
then then he might win $60 and you get excited about it. I'm like, bro, you have a problem. Stop.
Well, and, Aaron, that's exactly the mentality though that keeps us being successful on Friday nights.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I mean, you think about it. So when somebody wins and they've paid, they've bought into a break and they've paid $40, they're like, oh, cool, I got an autographed jersey for $40. Yeah, but what about the other 6 breaks that you didn't win? You know, I mean,
all the
so
money that you
now.
spent on all these breaks, you could have just went and bought the jersey that you just won and still had
That's
some money.
exactly right. That's exactly right. It doesn't make any sense, but
Ugh.
and that's the mentality that we all have. We all
Yep.
have it, I mine is not. I think my mentality in that way comes in the form of participation in sports. You know, So like when we were teal back in the day, we were very successful, and that's what kept us going.
Yeah.
When we finally got to the point where we were, we would have our days, but we would be mediocre a lot of times. We quit because it's like, dude, this is no longer feeding that drive,
Yeah.
you know. And so I think it just carries over into everything. I think that like my wife, for instance, she was driven when it comes to learning, you know. So she got a she tells me about the time in it must have been junior high, and she got like a B in art, and she was
Whoa.
devastated. She was devastated. So she wanted to take the class again, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
D's get degrees, Mary.
That's right. That's right. You know, but it's just I think it's the way society creates this like adrenaline rush
Yeah.
with this type of stuff,
Yep.
and I think that's a thing that we thrive on a lot of times,
Yeah.
because I want to be better than you, so I'm going to do whatever I can to do that, and that's the mentality when it comes to sports, when it comes to working, when it comes to learning, when all that stuff. It's about competition and who's better.
Yeah.
So just interesting.
For sure. For sure. Well, we are we're at an hour and 20 minutes, so I guess we'll
Wow. Wow.
call it a night. Actually, well, we were only on for a couple minutes when we hit the reset button, so
Yeah,
but
but I think that's still it's probably been at least
I
an hour.
actually, well, we were only on for a couple minutes. Yeah, we're
So,
probably
but
close to an hour and a half, but it was a good conversation
very
for
good,
sure.
very
Yeah.
good.
Um, money.
So how we doing on subscriptions and people following us and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done an update there. So we kind of went a little AWOL on the posting of content or MIA or whatever the word
Yeah.
is.
POW?
So
No, no,
yeah,
no.
we need to get that content, pumping again from our lives. But um, I don't know. Let me give a quick TikTok check.
Okay.
Let me see. Keystone Live Breaks is doing good on TikTok.
Yeah.
So we are up to 127 followers on TikTok.
All right.
Yep.
All
And
right.
there's the guy that breaks quarters. He just popped up. I still can't believe that's a thing.
Dude, it is amazing what people will break, dude.
What people
It
will
is
pay money
crazy.
for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we are at 60 total subscriber, 59 on YouTube.
YouTube.
So I don't know.
YouTube.
I'm not sure where we were at, you know,
Okay.
way
Well, I
back
mean,
when, but
we're
we'll have
still
to
pumping.
keep track of that and get get some content pushed back onto those platforms. See what we can
Yeah,
do.
maybe we can have Grammy just start posting like crazy for us.
We could probably post like a weekly segment of like gross things Grammy eats.
Yeah, that would be good.
Um,
That would be
Starting with a
really good.
ketchup sandwich.
Well, you saw that was during our conversation about taking care of family. She said, "I'm glad someone will remember us in need of coffee, ketchup, and bread." I'm like, "Oh my goodness."
Can you imagine that? Like just sitting down for a meal and you're having a cup of
Oh,
coffee with a ketchup sandwich.
Gabby, what's for dinner? We got some ketchup
I got some
and some
ketchup and
bread.
some white bread over here.
Do you want that with crust or without?
And for dessert, we're gonna have a Twinkie wrapped in American cheese.
There you go. Hey,
That's
that'd be a
disgusting
delicacy,
too.
baby.
Ugh,
That is a delicacy right there,
that is
dude.
so
I
gross.
I might. I don't think I have the cheese. I don't have the ho hos though. That's too bad.
Gross.
That is just too bad. So
Well,
anyway,
for those of you who are still here, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Sorry again about the lagging issues and all that was happening at the beginning. I think it probably mellowed out about halfway through. So if you guys are still here, we appreciate you a ton. We will be back next Thursday, same time. We are not sure who it'll be yet. Um, what did Grammy just say?
do
Do
you a supper invite?
do you a supper invite? If you're asking me if I want a supper invite for a ketchup sandwich, the answer to that question is no.
Tell her. Tell her. So okay, Grammy. I will make you a deal. If you eat a ho ho with American cheese wrapped around it, I will eat a ketchup sandwich.
Oh, we got to get some videos of this.
There you go.
What do you say,
So
Grammy?
so
Will you try
there
a
you
ho
go.
ho wrapped in American cheese, and Baldo will try a ketchup sandwich?
Yeah, I will do
Let's
that.
see what she
I will do
says.
that. I might gag, but I will do that.
Oh, see what she says.
I mean, it's like, dude, it's got to be. It turns into soggy bread.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Oh,
and there's nothing
that,
worse on the planet than soggy bread. Actually,
no,
I
that
say
is
that,
true.
but one of my, she said, "Yuck, no way." Grammy,
Grammy,
you wouldn't
come
just
on.
try it. You wouldn't just take a bite.
Oh, come on, Grammy.
Oh, and then Kyle says a mayo sandwich. Just mayo? Ugh.
Oh, that's pretty nasty too. That's pretty nasty,
Oh, you
dude.
guys
I'm
are killing
telling
me.
you,
Can't believe this is family.
Grammy. I can't believe Grammy turned down a challenge.
Yeah,
What's up with that?
Grammy, I don't know why you wouldn't, take him up on that. The way you
I'm
love
telling
ketchup
you,
sandwiches.
she's gonna be. If she tries it, she'll be a convert. I promise you.
All you got to
I
do is
promise.
just take one bite. One bite.
Yep.
Everybody knows the rules.
Yep. There you go.
I eat it before
Uh,
it gets soggy. Man, so she must be
Whop.
hoovering that thing down. um,
Wow.
I was gonna say I say
Wow.
that about soggy bread, but Brian, do you know best one of the best things that you can order at a diner is an open face turkey sandwich?
Dude, I never got into those, man.
Oh my
You
lord!
know?
Oh my lord! A good gravy on top of that bad
Oh,
boy. Oh,
that the
and
soggy bread
I
ruins it.
know, I know, but it's
It
so good.
ruins it,
A
dude.
good old side of mashed potatoes with
Oh,
that gravy on it too. Oh my lord! Now we're
that's
talking.
just
I'm going to
that's just
I'm going to Baker's.
the bakers,
Baker's
dude.
in Dillsburg. They got the best.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking. So when I lived in the Midwest, there was a restaurant called Baker's Square, and it was not like Baker's here in Dillsburg at all. But they had the best French silk pie. Oh my lord! So
What is French
anyway,
silk pie?
it's chocolate. It's chocolate pie, and it's like smooth as silk. French silk pie.
French silk pie.
There you go.
Grimmy, you
So
can't get
what's
an
she talking?
open faced chicken sandwich. That's
Not
weird.
turkey.
Yeah.
Oh my.
We are going to start
So
a segment Weird Things Grammy Eats.
I can't. I honestly have never heard of an open-faced chicken sandwich.
I hope that's not what she's talking about. I've
I
heard of
I
roast beef, I've heard of turkey, I've never heard of
uh,
open faced chicken.
no
And you know what? We'll name
no.
this segment Weird Things Stu's Family Eats because my pappy eats like I'm pretty sure he eats onions like an apple.
Oh
My
my.
brother eats mayo sandwiches with salt and
Pepper.
pepper on it, mayo and pepper, and then he also
That's weird.
puts mustard on his pizza and
Yeah, that's weird.
just weird
That's
stuff, dude. I don't know
that.
why you have to ruin a good thing, right? Pizza's just so good as it is. Like, why do we gotta doctor
Yeah.
it up with some other
So
gross stuff?
if I'm remembering correctly, you're telling me Jim and Nina's is the best pizza you've ever had.
Best pizza I've ever had.
Okay.
Actually, hold on. I take that back. Um, Dan Ness, if you're here, Marco, if you're watching, I am so sorry. Best pizza I've ever had, legit, is over at the West Shore Farmers Market. I think you know him, Matt Zek,
Pizzeros.
Caseros.
Oh
Dude,
yeah.
their
Yeah.
pizza is so good.
It is
So good.
banging.
Yeah.
It is banging.
Yep. David
Um.
Portnoy from Barstool Sports. If you are one of our 3 viewers right now, you need to head over to the West Shore Farmers Market in South Central PA on Saturday morning. Hit up Caseros and try their pizza. It's delicious, and it's actually like the
It
kind
is.
of pizza that David Portnoy likes too. He likes it
It is.
crispy. Yep, so good. If
Yeah.
anybody's in the
So
chat and hasn't tried it, get there.
Um, I've known Matt for a long time. Actually, Matt was Nick's junior high assistant principal at Allen Middle School.
Okay.
So I've known him for a long time. But he also owns
Oh,
what's the name
Grammy.
of the breaker of the Domino's Pizza, dude? She's tripping. She's been eating too many ketchup soggy sandwiches, man. Never heard of it. Kyle, you
That's terrible.
sheltered, dude. Yeah, it is sheltered.
Sweet
He
treats.
also owns. No, he owns. What's the name of the Batch?
Batch, that's
Batch.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Yep, he owns that one too. And they have good pastries and stuff, man. Their cookies and stuff. Oh my.
I'm not a big
It,
sweets guy. I can
yeah,
honestly tell you I've never had that, but I would bet just from my experience with the pizza that he knows what
yeah.
he's doing on the other side too.
So do you know his wife Becky?
Yep. Yep,
That she
they both went to Crossroads for a little while.
Oh, did they?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
That's where I
So
met him.
that's how I think that's where the pizza recipe actually came from, was from her family.
Okay.
Because I think she's originally from Italy or
Well,
Greece or somewhere over there.
wherever it
So,
came from, God bless him. Yeah, it's so good.
yeah, it is. It
The
is.
the day that Alexa brought me this home from the market,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
is it? Yeah, it's this camera
Yeah.
for.
No,
Yeah.
other one.
Nope,
Oh, yeah.
nope. That one's Discord, and this
Sorry,
one.
dude.
So here,
Sorry.
so you both can see it. But Mike Schmidt, she also brought me home a piece of pizza from Caseros, and I was like, man, I am having a day. Caseros
Yeah.
pizza, Mike Schmidt autograph. What a day! What a time to be
Yeah.
alive.
Hey, that's right.
And
Pizza and baseball.
yeah,
Nothing
I'm.
greater.
If I have to pick like a low budget, like a franchise pizza place, I'm probably going to Domino's. But Domino's does not hold a candle to the mom and pop shop pizzas where they're cooking it in the stone oven, or coal
I
fired.
have
Coal fired pizza
I,
is so good.
I have to say that I've had some pretty bad Pops pizza too.
Oh yeah, for
I've had
sure.
some pretty
Would
bad.
you say that
I mean,
your worst mom and pop shop pizza, is it better than like a Domino's?
no,
Really?
no.
Because
So
I would.
you're gonna croak when you hear this. But so we have pizza basically twice a week. We have it Wednesday
There's
night.
nothing wrong with
Well,
that.
sometimes three times a week. Wednesday night and sometimes Saturday afternoon, and then Saturday or Friday night. So
Okay.
sometimes three times a week. But the pizza that Mary and I like is Little Caesars pizza.
Uh, oh, oh, that's so
No,
gross.
yeah, yeah, no way,
Oh,
dude. That is the best pizza, man. You got to be kidding me.
hold
That
on.
is the best pizza.
It's not.
That
It's
is the
not.
best. It is. It
So,
is.
what you mean when you say best pizza, what you actually mean is it's tolerable for the low price that it cost you. That's what
Dude,
you
come on.
actually
No,
mean.
no, no,
You're
it's not.
telling me that Little Caesars is the best pizza? Like if
No,
you
I
had
didn't
to.
say it was the best. I mean,
You did say
it's
that.
probably
It's the best
okay.
pizza is exactly what you said.
I'd say one of the top three.
Top 3.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I'd rather eat the
Since you-
box.
oh, come on.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go,
See,
Kyle.
Kyle.
It's like eating cardboard. Exactly. Oh, that's so gross.
No,
I can't believe
right.
I'm so disappointed in you.
Oh, don't be disappointed, baby.
I
There's a
am.
lot more that you can be disappointed to about that.
Yeah, Baldo,
So,
you did just lose any credibility when we have. If there's ever a pizza conversation again, I'm not calling you.
no, that's not true because I agreed with you about Cesaro's. It
Yeah,
is the best
well,
pizza.
and then you
It
went and
is
made
the
an
best. No,
outrageous
no,
claim about
top
Little
three.
Caesars.
No,
I would eat a frozen pizza from
well,
Tony's that sat out after I baked it for like 5 hours, 6 hours, maybe even overnight. I would eat that not warmed up before I would call Little Caesars
no,
and pick up a hot and fresh
come on,
whatever
man.
salt pretzel crust. Get
No,
out of
dude,
here.
you gotta go with the plain pepperoni pizza. It's
Oh.
good. It's good.
I'll tell you,
I'm
I had
telling
Little
you.
Caesars one time, and I snuck it into the Harz Drive-In down in
Yeah,
Dillsburg because it's like right next door. I got in
yeah.
there, I ate one slice, I threw that box in the trash can, and I went and bought concessions. And that's what I was trying not to do.
And what'd you pay for your concessions? Like $9 for
Yeah,
the.
and guess what? That concession slice of pizza was 20 times better than the
Oh,
crap that I got from
dude,
Little Caesars.
come on,
Oh,
man.
that's so
Uh,
disappointing. So
yeah, you would.
disappointing.
You're right. It is disappointing. I'm disappointed in you, Aaron. I
You
am
are the
disappointed.
minority here, my friend. We are gonna post a poll somewhere. We're gonna tally up the votes. Oh man, I wish we would have
We
ended
have
the live back when we were trying to
we
the last time.
we have Mary and I have eaten so much Little Caesars. It's not even funny.
Ugh,
It is crazy, dude. It is crazy. We will get it like tomorrow night. There's a chance that when we head out of town for Easter, that we'll go to Little Caesars, grab a pizza to take eat on the way.
ugh, that's terrible. That's
No,
terrible.
so I'm telling you, man. Hey,
Well,
it's help. I mean, you look at this fine physique. That's how it got this way.
that's fair. Yeah, he makes a good point there. So guys and gals, if you want to grow up and look like Baldo, just eat a lot of Little Caesars pizza. You'll lose all your
Yep,
hair.
there you go.
Yep.
There you go. Yep. And
All right.
muscle, all everything gone.
Toned,
Yep,
defined,
yep,
everything.
yep. Oh
Oh
my
man.
goodness.
Well, with that being
So,
said, we're gonna disappear. Oh, what's up?
I was gonna say you're headed to Philly tomorrow, right?
We are. Yep. Yep.
Are you
We are.
going? Are you going for the day?
Yeah. So we're dropping my daughter off at my mom's house in the morning between 9:30 and 10.
Okay.
And then we're gonna head out that way. Gates open at 12:30, but there's some pregame street fair stuff that you can do. So
Cool.
we'll get out there probably 11:30, 12ish. Kill
Yeah.
some time outside and so
So
yeah.
you saw my text, right? About the ball.
Oh yeah.
You got to.
I'm gonna tell you right now. If I catch a foul ball, it's not going to you.
Oh, dude,
No.
come on,
No.
man. Come
No.
on.
Nope. If I
Jump
catch
it
a
down.
foul ball, I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna ask whoever hit it to sign it for me, and then I'm gonna
Dude,
keep it for forever.
no, I'm disappointed.
So we are in section 111, I think it is.
Okay.
So we are down the first base line, just past the dirt in the outfield there. Uh,
Dude,
so
that's
definitely
prime location.
foul ball territory for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's it. That's it.
I'm gonna get one.
So another question. When's Ellie's first experience of opening day going to happen?
So Ellie will not be this year because we would have to buy her a ticket.
Yeah.
And she's just it's not gonna be worth. She's not gonna remember it, you know. So we
Yeah.
might we
And
might
you
tr-
don't want to, and you want to
no.
see the game. You
Yeah,
want to see the
I'm
game.
not paying $120, a seat for 3 seats to have to leave in the fifth inning because she's screaming, because she's bored and all that kind of stuff. So we're not gonna do
Yeah.
that. We might try to get her over to like a Harrisburg Senators game this year and just kind of see how she does. She does like the Phillies though. Whenever they're on TV, she's watching. She knows some of the players' names, and she's
Yeah.
not gonna want to remember it. Kyle said, "Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'll shoot you a text tomorrow when the game's over. We'll see. We'll see." I'm
Is
excited
he
though.
going with? Is he
No,
still going with you?
not
Oh,
this
really?
not this time. So we're gonna we have to find another Braves Phillies game. But he didn't want to spend the money because it is. I mean, it is expensive. It's
Yeah.
hundred
Yeah.
and like $130 per seat, and then there's fees and stuff associated with that. So
Oh, yeah.
for
It's crazy.
just the two tickets for me and my wife was like $340.
So
Um,
the last time Nick and I went to, was it the last time? No, wouldn't have been the last time. He was probably 10, so it's been 20 years ago. We
wow.
went to one of the last four games at Vet
At
Stadium
the vet.
at the Vet, and we were front side of the first base dugout. First base dugout. So front side of it, between like the home plate and the end of the dugout, probably 10 rows back. And
Okay.
at that point, those two tickets cost me $80 a piece. So I'm
Sickening.
like, and that was 20 years ago. So it's crazy,
Yeah,
man.
now
It's
those
crazy.
seats are gonna cost you like $300 or $400 per
Yeah,
seat.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
wild.
So anyway.
Well, with that being said, quick March Madness update. UConn beat San Diego State. Clemson upset Arizona. UNC is losing right now, four to
Oh my.
two, with 19 minutes
Wow.
left in the first half.
Oh.
Oh no. Phillies play tomorrow. Mets play tomorrow. Go Brewers.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's it.
That's all I
That's
got.
it. That's all she wrote. That's all
Thank you
she
guys
wrote.
for being here tonight and contributing in the chat. We appreciate you guys a ton. don't forget, don't eat Little Caesars. We'll see
Hey,
you next Thursday.
and Grammy, the challenge is always going to be there. So whenever you're
I'll
ready,
remind her about it. You know what? I'm just
come
gonna
down.
take a box of ho hos and cheese down to her house the next time I go down, and I'm gonna tell her I'm not leaving until she tries it. So,
That'll work. That'll work. All
alrighty.
right.
We'll see you guys. See you next week, Thursday at 8.